Listen, I didn't think the last 24 hours could get any stranger, but Donald Trump just said something about XRP that is probably the most positive thing anyone has ever said about it. Okay, I'm going to put this on top of a modern film clip and a few other important news stories about the US economy. And even better, you'll have to watch all the way to the end because that is such a big deal. We're talking about trillions of dollars that could come into XRP just because I said this. Also, people who have an H bar have a lot to look forward to with this. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about how XRP is up 1593% in the last 24 hours and almost 40% in the last week, starting at 226 parts per coin and going all the way up to 318 parts per coin where it is now. What a great run this has been. But after hearing the news, I'm sure that XRP will soon be worth $4. Plus a $20 XRP might be a bit too low of a starting point based on this information alone. We'll talk about that in just 2 minutes. Before we talk about that, though, I'd like to talk about what's going on in the markets. We were given CPI inflation data, but it was lower than expected. What we were given changed from a 3.3 inflation range to a 3.2 range. And this is really a very strong prediction. The goods market and the cryptocurrency market are both responding to the slowing of inflation. So the main goal here should be to look forward to many things. So the first thing is that it is inflation. That means that there will be a lot of cash and wealth around the world, and real estate will be taking advantage of a huge economic boom in 2025. This is something I'm going to say again. As far as I can tell, 2025 will be the best bull run for XRP, HBAR, XLM, XDC, and a few other ISO cryptocurrencies. And this is probably not going to happen in 2030 because that is when crypto markets around the world start to grow. This is speeding up and going so much faster than expected. Yes, it will be really crazy. First class, get ready for what's going to happen now. Now, the first great piece of news that I think will really boost XRP's price in the near future is that the SEC's case against Ripple might be thrown out. It was said by the chief criminal officer at Ripple after Gary Gensler's appeal the day before today. Now, I do need to point out that if we look at this picture from the last day, you can see that after Gary Gensler freed this attraction, XRP went from about $3.17 down to about $293. Since then, though, it has honestly gone back up, which shows great energy. Even though Gary Gensler is messing with the markets, attacking traders, and making our lives harder, we're sticking with it and showing a ton of electricity. Right now, the next level of support for XRP comes up very quickly. It's still not out of the water, but it's not going to be a straight shot to $400. So with that being said, let's carry on to our last thing I want to mention, shall we? As he hits 600, Mr. Trump is going to be on his way to work. There's some thinking going on, and we just barely made it to street level so we can get to our goal. This is now very strong information. When I think about the number of clues we were given, this has to do with Donald Trump and the script on script on script on script on script. Also, this has nothing to do with anyone else besides Donald Trump. He promised to get rid of Gary Gensler. This is exactly why Gary Gensler is quitting the day before Trump is sworn in. He can't be fired then. That way he could still get jobs with the government, since if you are fired legally, you can't get hired again by the US government. That being said, there are many reasons for us to thank Donald Trump. Trump just made a unique announcement that will be bigger than anything else that has ever been seen. This is the most positive news I've ever seen about any US-based cryptocurrency group. Trump seems open to the idea of using coins that were made in the United States based on what he has said. To put it another way, Trump is seriously thinking about using US-based cryptocurrency projects as their strategic cryptocurrency store in the US government right now. Now, I know that many of you don't know how big this strategic store is. Also, I might be going over this main idea very soon. But first, before we talk about that, I need to talk about the fact that there are already a lot of crypto groups in the US. and there may be a lot more. So yes, this is very helpful for many unique crypto jobs, but you should really look at the ones that are coming up with new ideas and charging the US government, thanks to the businesses and, of course, you guys. And there aren't many cryptocurrencies that can do those things. First, the one that comes to mind is around XRP. I think we just had a dinner with Donald Trump where the chief jail officer of Ripple and the CEO of Ripple talked about business and crypto rules. So Donald Trump, you agree with him completely. You can think about XRP all the time. But there's also HBAR, which is making huge deals with all of America's biggest companies like SpaceX, Google, IBM, Boeing, and so on. So I think these crypto projects, which could be US-based businesses, stand to gain the most. But that doesn't mean that projects like XLM and others won't also gain a lot from this. All of these things could be thought about for the US crypto reserve in the future, and we know that Trump is open to the idea. No longer are there only Bitcoin guys. Word on the street is that Trump only has XRP. Bitcoin is with him. He has Ethereum. All of these coins are in wallets that he keeps for himself. That's pretty big. But now I want to go back to that point I only briefly touched on, what the size of those stocks is. So America does have a lot of very good reserves. And for starters, it has a stock of crude oil and natural gas. With this, they do have 1 billion barrels, as you can see right here. There are 1 billion barrels right here. They have almost 50 billion barrels of crude oil. About $90 is how much each barrel of oil is really worth. And that's what we're looking for. This store right here is worth almost $4 billion or $4 trillion. We have a lot of reserves. The United States also has a gold store, which is really